Welcome back to my Roman kitchen and to Libum Mark II. We're going to do something different. We're going to conduct a true experiment in archaeology, following the recipe word for word in every respect. Even though instinctively I would like to alter the recipe because I'm looking for something of high quality and something delicate. The recipe describes itself as being delicate, but we still have to follow it word for word. And of course that's not easy for lots of reasons, but particularly because of the cheese, because you need a fresh goat's cheese. Now, where do you find a fresh, unpasteurised goat's cheese in Britain today? It's not easy. If you're living in London, possibly, but in rural Hampshire, I had to go on a journey. So we went on a journey to find some fresh goat's milk and some goat's cheese. Well, let's go and see the girls.
It's another nanny. Very few nannies will share their milk.
Good girl. This is I'll put some bread. So I just brush it to start to make sure that we get as little hay or straw in the milk as possible.
I normally refer to this as my milkation now because it's a lovely noise when it goes in the bucket, and you can imagine that view across the valley changes throughout the season. So you've just got that nice noise, and it's different to milking a cow.
No smell. Beautiful.
That makes some great cheese then, Sal.
That would make some great cheese, wouldn't it? Yes, yes. I think we need to add it to a bit more.
In the fridge, ready to give
Excellent.
Sally.
Okay, we're back. We have our goat's cheese. I'm very pleased with it. I pressed it for about 8 hours. Got rid of as much moisture as possible. It's lovely and soft. It's very similar to ricotta, I have to say. So I'm looking forward to the cheesecake because I don't think it's going to be too tough. So we transfer our 12 Roman ounces of cheese to our mortar, and it needed to be broken up and made smooth. That's how I think it's described. And then we're going to add our delicate flour, which means 3 ounces, and here it is weighed out, and it needs to be, let's read it in, mixed thoroughly with the cheese. So we will mix thoroughly with the cheese. This is what I find difficult because I want to add the egg first. But of course there's quite a lot of moisture in this cheese, which means that it will absorb quite a lot of flour. And I can see that it is. It's becoming more bound together. And that's the flour. Let's add the rest and pound it in. And then I think there's come a point when I will need to use my hands. You can see it's got a nice pliable dough. It's interesting dough. So I'm now going to move to hands. It's got to be hands, I think. It's got to be hands. It's a very strange texture. And at this point I'm to add, according to the recipe, if I halve it exactly, half an egg. Can I bear to add only half an egg? This is so difficult. I am so compelled to add one. But we will do it as we're told. I suspect that Cato, and this is Cato's recipe, or he has acquired it in order for people to make these cakes for the farm so that they have the cakes in order to keep the gods happy. This is the issue. And so he's rather mean with his eggs. He's notorious for being mean, I have to say. So I am still deeply compelled. So we beat it up. This is a lovely yellow yolked egg. It's going to alter the colour a little bit. I could have cheated and just added the yolk, but I think I needed to beat it up. So we're going to add half the egg. There we are. See, I did as I was told. And now I think I need my spoon for a bit. Look at the colour of that. It's beautiful. Beautiful. So we're still very similar. We're very similar to the ricotta. I think it's going to be a little bit more stable. I don't think it's going to squash down flat like the ricotta did, but we'll see. Stir the egg in. It's nice and firm. Now I'm going to switch back to hands because it's the only way, I think, to get it out of the bowl. Okay. That's down. So I have a little bit of flour here, not weighed, just to cover my hands, so that I can, exactly as I did before, put the flour underneath and push. Bread makers know how to do this. This is the way to release it. There we go. So it's a solid lump. It's stable. A little bit more flour. And that will go under the tester very well, I think. I will be able to lift that without any trouble. So now I'm just going to wash my hands. Put that over there out of the way. So that my oven is lovely and hot. And you take it off. Ah, very heavy. And then we lift this off. And so now our coals are just right. They are beautifully white. Still got loads of latent heat in them. I've been investigating the hobs in Pompeii and reviewing my pictures, in fact, of the hobs in Pompeii. And basically, underneath all the dust and ash, it was crazy paving. Just pieces of tile cemented in. Very simple. And this is what mine is like. And eventually they crack. And then you have to replace them. But this is my only tile that's still clean and not cracked. So our bay leaves, to ensure that it doesn't stick. Oh, hot. So I need a little more flour because it's got stuck. Okay. Lift it out and place it down. So we put our oven back on. And then we can arrange our coals around the outside and on the top. Put the big ones on the top, the ones that are going to sustain some heat all the way through the process, and the little ones stay at the bottom. Now, because that's so much more dense, I believe, it's not going to cook very quickly. It says slowly on a warm hearth under a crock, under our tester. So we can take our time with it. And basically, it's like, how long can I stand taking that heat before I have to move? And it's quite hot. So having done that, I'm going to remove a few pieces. And one of the things I'm going to do with it is put it underneath this little pot here. It's a little ceramic brazier. And I'm going to put the coals underneath it, and then the honey, which is in the pot above, will slowly melt because it's rather thick at the moment. so that we can pour it on our cake when we're ready. And then I adjust my heat just a little more. I think that will do. We've taken a few more coals off because we've got a very faint toasty smell, and I don't want it to burn, and I want to try and control the heat and slow down the baking process. I'm going to take another one off there. I'm still limited in how long I can hang on. I'm probably a little bit longer now. That's about too much. That's more than I need. So we'll wait a few more minutes. So we're going to have a look and see what kind of a colour and texture we have. Our cake, it smells fabulous. Oh, yes. There's a different shape to the one we had before. Nice. Oh. And it's not stuck, it's lovely. I should be able to get that off. It's a nice shape. It's the kind of shape I was after. Very hot, so I'm going to be quick. Wow. Now I want to look at texture very much compared with the previous one and ones I've made in the past with ricotta. So my honey's gone lovely and that's a nice texture. Oh yes. Can I just hold it up for you? There you go.
That looks great.
That looks really good. Over the years I've made this many times, many different kinds of cheese, and what I found is that when it's like this, fresh and hot, as we said before, it's a dinner sweet. When it goes cold, it gets very much firmer, and you can't add honey at that point. It's too late. You add the honey while it's hot, and there is a kind of a capillary action going on where it gets absorbed by the cake. Many years ago I made 10 of these, one after the other, mixed and baked 10 of them, and I made some syrup and I was going to soak them afterwards when I'd made them all, and it was too late. They became footballs for children to play with because they had, and this is interesting because it rather implies that the Libum that the slaves were fed in the temple precinct was not terribly palatable. But so I'm being very generous with the honey because I like honey. So that should now be rather wonderful. And I'm very curious. There's a nice, it's the same crusty texture on the outside, which you get specifically from the testum. And so I'm going to be naughty and take just the edge because that's where all the crustiness is. So if you excuse me while I imbibe. That's a really good texture. Rod, can you comb in on that? It's, even though
It's bread-like, isn't it?
it's bread-like, and there's some air holes. You can see there's it's expanded,
It's really risen. Yeah.
which I did not expect. Very, very good. Would you like some?
I'd love some, thank you. Yeah.
There we go. Very hot. Beautiful. Now that is something a Roman emperor, if you don't mind me saying so, a Roman emperor would have been proud of. Would have complimented his cook for. It's beautiful. One day, and I'll talk about it on the website, I will make one with double the amount of flour and see what happens to that sturdy one, that worthy cheesecake. But this goes, I think this goes out, still goes out to a dining room. Libum from Cato. Hope you've enjoyed it. While it was red hot, I smothered it in really hot honey. And there's a capillary action going on, and it sucks up into the spaces in the cake.
Oh, yeah.
So it should be completely suffused with honey. You can make
Let's try.
something much firmer with more flour, less egg.
Keep it for 6 months and give it to the peasants. Yeah.
Basically. Cheers to you. Thank you
Cheers.
so much. For
You're
letting me have
welcome.
them.
You're welcome.
Mm.
But it's really, really unusual. And I can see the bay leaves. You can really get the hint of bay through the whole thing.
I've got
can't
that.
You?
I went for a piece that had a bay leaf on it. There we are. It's a totally different texture now, of course.
From
Bound to
not
be.
being hot, with
Yeah.
all the honey that's soaked through it.
Exactly. It was light, but now it has got a certain stodginess to it, which is different. One day, and I'll talk about it on the website, I will make one with double the amount of flour and see what happens to that sturdy one, that worthy cheesecake. But this goes, I think this goes out, still goes out to a dining room. Libum from Cato. Hope you've enjoyed it.